The following episode is brought to you by Poison City Brewing, proud makers of Durban Poison Cannabis Lager, the beer that invites you to live your poison.
Okay, cool, man. So the reason why I didn't start off so good was because since Cyril spoke, so in October, I started emailing people. I'm seeing like, okay, we can be COVID compliant and stuff, at venues. And I was like, okay, maybe I should do like gigs just to like start paying off my student debt and buying textbooks and shit, just the normal stuff to get a bit of money because I don't charge that much. And then since Cyril spoke, I've lost about all my January gigs and the February one's going to get cancelled. I knew this was coming.
I can imagine like how frustrating that must be, dude. Like everything was planned out and then off. It's quite hectic, dude. Would you say like has this sort of been the gist of lockdown for you? Like even when it began like last year, was it sort of like a similar vibe throughout, like just negativity?
No, because this time I can prepare for it. Last year, I had because I'm a small artist and my concept of my project is very weird. So like a lot of last year's bookings that started in Feb, out of nowhere, I played one club show, and from this one club show, a lot of venue bookers, and they weren't in the audience. I don't know how they got a hold of me, but they started booking me, and it was all in the Somerset West area in Cape Town and the Strand and the Blouberg area where I didn't normally play. I played like 2 shows there, but anyways, and it all got cancelled like in one day. There's nothing that can prepare you to lose all your work in one day, because musicians aren't like a job where you sign up and you have all these contractual benefits. If you're a small band, you have like a mediocre contract, and we had deposits and stuff, but a lot of these places now, the stipulation in my contract that says if government intervenes, I don't have to give back my deposit. A lot of people scratched that out even before this whole thing because people were seeing we're going to get corona, people were seeing it. So I had to like give the deposits back, and I was losing a lot of money, dude. I don't even want to count how much it was.
Oh, dude, this is hectic, man. Like we actually spoke about something similar to what you're experiencing in our episode with fame.org.za, where Christian was just telling us that a lot of artists have come across a similar problem, and basically a whole way to work around that is the artists who sort of had agreement with government or whatever, and if it was going to be a government gig, then they would have been able to get compensation, but they just made it so damn difficult for artists to get back any kind of money once an agreement was made.
Yeah, or the government's cultural fund. I don't know if you guys actually went and looked at it. Now, I'm a student. I'm going to take it. I'm not a full-time musician, but somebody that went into debt was Arno Karstens from Springbok Nude Girls. He had a whole thing on his Facebook about it, where most of his bookings from 2020 were between friends. So they don't really, like, he doesn't pull out his contract that his lawyer and his wife set up, who manages him. They just go like, oh, it's a door deal. We don't need a contract, because I didn't even throw my contract around when it's a door deal, because you can't really predict what the amount you're gonna get. All of these things you can't predict. If you don't have a contract, you can't submit your stuff to government. Say, hey, please help me. And if you had and you submitted it, you were like getting like 2 or 3K a month. Who can live off of that?
Yo, dude, it's quite hectic,
so
dude. It's
small,
actually,
dude.
it's quite it's a deep topic, dude. I mean, but just the fact that you're actually aware and that you're wary of this whole contractual thing, I think is a step in the right direction. What sort of made you decide on that? Yeah, what made you decide to sort of include, contracts when it comes to your gigs and stuff? Because you'll find that a lot of artists, this is something that a lot of artists overlook, a lot of bands overlook that, so what is it about you that made you about that whole contractual sort of agreement type thing that made you sort of get onto that?
That's an easy one. I was in bands since I was about 15. Now, technically, it was playing in friends' garages or like going to the music school. I was at Jamrock Music Academy. There was on Saturdays this thing called Band Academy. And a lot of these acts that you jam with are session musicians in the industry. And I had this thing like, okay, these are pros around me. And some of them weren't really pros, but I consider them pros. And everything that they would tell you, if you ask them about how do I get a gig, everybody, the first thing say, make sure you have a contract. And now in December, when I got, which I'm not actually allowed to go like in deeply, but when I got scammed out of a lot of money, that contract became very heavily, because let's say you get booked for something and all of a sudden you want to, let's not say slander, but you want to go to the media with this person and say like, oh, screw you, like you screwed me out of money, now I'm going to screw your name. And you go factual. The only thing the media is going to ask you, did you have a contract and was it in play? And that's another thing how that works. Dude, it took me like 2 or 3 months to understand it. It's hectic, but it was mostly about the side. If somebody screws me over and I need to go to the media, I am in the right and not in the wrong and get laughed at.
That's cool though. Like, I think you, out of a lot of the artists that we spoke to, you are probably one of the first to have been this sort of vocal about, you know, understanding your rights as a musician, and that's really, really dope. Like, it's you have a good understanding of it, and you've also got a really good mindset of learning and figuring it out, and that's invaluable. That helps a hell of a lot.
Yeah, dude. I think a lot of time when I play with musicians, even the session acts that say, how can I find Suburbs to bring you up, everybody that's listening on topic, because that we're not speaking like in circles. People feel like, how does this guy's project work? So how Connect Funny Suburbs works is that I'm the only active member. I write, record, produce, mix, master, all the stuff. And I'm the only one that can call the shots. The rest of the acts are session musos. And if they want to say they are part of the project, they can, but they're not active. None of them are active. So Johannes helped me on recordings, that plays drums for me. Jonah has helped me on bass recordings. There's a song hopefully releasing in 2021 somewhere, if we can get the drums recorded. And those are like the only roles to have, where we then share an agreement that we share royalties that are very small, or if there was a record deal, we share splits of whatever. So that's how that works, where I get session users in. So the weird part is also that when we were even in a very uncomfortable situation, and I was going through all the legal stuff that I had with legal advisors helping me in the situation where we were, that we all, like, they didn't know a thing that I was saying, or if they did, they didn't fully understand me, and I had to explain it a different way to them. Or if I go back to other musicians who have contracts, they don't know how that thing works. They don't understand that the person signing and setting up that thing is a legal representative. If they get screwed, they're so silent about it, where they're not like me. Like, if somebody were to ask me about what's going on now in that situation, I'll just throw all the info out there and hope nobody ever works with that person again. Where a lot of musicians don't understand that, and we need to be more vocal about that. That's the only way this industry is going to work.
Yeah, dude. And obviously, you know, we obviously understand that you are very thorough when it comes to you know, the contracts and all that, and that is something that, you know, I feel like a lot of artists could actually benefit from, even people who are listeners who are wanting to get into music. I think you're setting a very great example, and I mean, for anyone who's even hopped into this, obviously, yeah, dude. Like, obviously, we were talking with Marcel earlier about how we don't really do intros anymore, but we are talking to Corné Opperman, and and yeah, he's just basically telling us more about himself, and obviously about the actual band now. You know, Corné's Funny Suburbs. Tell us a bit more about that. How did the name come about?
I have no idea how the name came to me. It's just like a friend and I was talking while I was still in high school. I matriculated in 2019. And while we were at school one day, busy writing matric exams, I was like, damn, I'm so tired of being in all these shitty bands and it's going nowhere and nobody wants to gig or anything or want to write songs. I just want to be Nirvana or want to be Metallica. If somebody can get like a really cool name and do something really cool, like a Against Me vibe, where it was actually Laura Jane Grace's idea, and then she added these these persons and these people to the project, or where it's like a city and colors thing. And then just this name came to me because I am from the suburbs. So, and I was a kid that time. So it was more like that, but there's no real meaning to the name. It's just a name.
It's still a cool name though. Like it doesn't detract from it. Like the
Oh,
story's
thank
still
you.
cool. Like I still think it's pretty cool. And just the concept of how you've done it, I can respect that because like I understand that struggle. I was lucky enough that my first proper band that I was a part of was a group of dedicated musicians, but I saw so many talented musicians just get so demotivated because they couldn't find like-minded artists. And what you did is you just took it and ran with it. You were just like, cool, well, if no one else is going to do it, I'm going to fucking do it. And I could respect that greatly.
Yeah. Or the worst part is like we have a lot of musicians in Cape Town, especially I live in Brackenfell. And we have a lot of musicians in the area that like from the age of 16, 17, they want to be in bands. And then when you lay down like what's it gonna take to be in a band, they just get lost. They just nowhere to be found. And I was just like getting so tired of this because it's the same recipe every time, and every time the pot boils over and nothing happens, and I'm left there to clean it all up, and then I have these songs written and I can't do anything about it. So I was like, okay, let I go and I decide what I want and I put it out there, because I was solo for a long time. I think from 2017 till middle 2018 I was still performing under my own name, Corné, and it didn't really work out for me because people weren't remembering my name for some reason. But now the weird thing with Kinders from die Suburbs is people are remembering the name, but they're not remembering the name. My Instagram handle is banned Funny Suburbs, and they're remembering the Instagram handle instead of the name. So they're like, oh, banned Funny Suburbs. I'm like, no, it's Kinders from die Suburbs. And yeah, so it's confusing, but it helps now. Now people remember something that connects with my music, so that helps.
You know, one of the things that intrigued me about what you're doing is the EP that you released in 2019. Yo, I'm gonna attempt to pronounce this. My Afrikaans is terrible. I think it was Onperfectness Ek. Fuck, I
Die begin.
completely obliterated that. Yes.
That's
Tell us a
perfect.
bit more. Yeah, like tell us a bit more about that, man. You know, what was sort of, you know, your state of mind when that came together? Yeah.
I was in the most absolute terrible mental health state ever, because everything that happened in 2018 was such a bad year for me. 2020 got nothing on 2018, man. I lost like myself so much. I can handle 2020 versus 2018, and all these things were happening together, where a lot of my friends who I thought were my friends started underage drinking. The previous year, and then this year, because I was never doing it. I have no problem with people who do it. I have a problem with people exclude people who don't do it, because I have values and you ignore my values. Anyways, like I was getting kicked out of groups, left out, and I had to deal with all that. I was like 17 turning 18. I have no idea how to deal with that. I was writing these songs, and I was in this very toxic relationship that went very sour very quickly. And ended very weirdly, and I had to like pick up the pieces, and I still kind of pick up the pieces. And then I released kind of the first chapter of Onperfectness Ek die Begin. It's called Die Begin because Onperfectness Ek is the full album, hopefully releasing end of 2021. Big hopefully. We're still figuring with the lockdowns out how to record drums and where and when. That's gonna come about later. Don't worry about it now. But I released in November of 2019. I released the first chapter, which was called Thanks for the Memories, which did enormously well, like in one day. And I didn't do a lot of marketing. I launched one Facebook ad, and I just shared it into like 2 or 3 music groups. And from there around, people were sharing and saying, like, yes, the song's good, song's doing great. It got radio play, which surprised me because it's a really sad song. And it was out there, and like I think the song's on 2,500 streams more than a year later. And that's how it came about. And people started DMing. It was like, maybe can you release more? I was like, I only have like 4 other songs written. And they're like, but write one more, release it as an EP, and then write the rest and release it later. And that's what I did in 2020. I just recorded, mixed, and mastered the acoustics, because I had the acoustics in December of 2019 or Jan of 2020. I'm not sure. They were done. The writing was done, but the recording took place middle Jan. And I remember sending it to my friend Tian, who listens to like all the mixes and masters in his car for me and points out all the mistakes. And I think that was in Feb. And then all of a sudden I knew, okay, I started Kinders van die Suburbs in March of 2019. So yeah, and then I released it in March, and it was a weird process because it's such a personal EP. There's so much of myself out there, and it's basically like all the terrible sides of 1 year on there.
Yeah. When I actually like the fact that you mentioned the relationship, because it's sort of making sense to me now what Thanks for the Memories was about. You mentioned Jolene in that track. So
That's not a real
Jolene
name,
must
though.
have been the okay, I see. So then it must be a representation of the person that you were with.
More or less, it was more like because yeah, it was at that point, but also a big idea that drove that song's lyrics was the idea, because I was a bit, let's say, a bit drunk when the idea came to me. While partying, the idea came to me. I just turned like 18 the previous month, and that month I got invited to a party, started drinking, and this one friend goes to me, "Why don't you write a song about, like all the memories you build up with a person or persons, and all of a sudden those people leave your life, or they die or whatever, but you're left with those memories and you have to deal with it." And that's how it boosted it. And I took a personal experience and boosted the idea.
So now, just to sort of paint a complete picture for someone who maybe hasn't listened to that song, like when you speak of the way that you talk about, when you mention Jolene and Thanks for the Memories and all that there, does that have something to do, like, is there elements of the relationship as well in there, or is this just strictly just a song that wasn't really inspired by that, but more by the idea that someone actually came to you with them, like, yo, write something like this, someone suddenly leaving you and all that? Are there elements of the person that you were in a relationship with prior to writing that at all?
Yes, definitely. And dude, it was so weird for me because when I wrote that song and I thought to myself, oh, I'm like now done with this, like I've experienced and everything. While recording that song, I just remember like feeling, that feeling when you vomit out hate for something that happened to you and wasn't your fault. Even though this was entirely my fault, but still, like it was really weird to me to have experienced that, because I like had to record that, and it's done live, and I just went, and I remember recording it with my eyes shut and not messing it up, and then all of a sudden I just like started crying. I was like, whoa, this is something new. And that's where I knew, like, okay, because there were elements in it of what happened, but not everything, because I didn't want my whole life in a song. But definitely there are elements of what happened, but they also fixations of what could have happened in there. Because I remember I started writing that song in December of 2018 and only finishing it in April of 2019, and then recording it in June of 2019. And I remember I only had a verse and a bridge. There was no that second verse that kind of makes the song that people connects with, because I still had to like figure that out. And a big part of that second verse is a fixation and is not real. There are some elements that's real, but I think the first 3 or 4 lines are fixation. They're not real.
Sure. That is beautiful, man. Very well said.
Yeah, that's a wonderful story, like just in terms of how it relates to everything. And it's honestly like such a cool thing. For you, how did music impact you? As you said, you started it at a very early age. You said you've been in a band since 15. So I'm assuming music impacted your life greatly when you discovered it and when you got involved with it. Tell us a bit more about that, how you got involved into music and how it became such an important aspect of your life and a creative release.
Oh man, that's so weird. So whenever somebody asks me when did I start with music, it wasn't actually 15. I got involved in bands in 15. You're correct there, but I started my first instrument, which I still hate to this day to try and play, is keyboard or piano. And there was this person or this woman handing out flyers at my school, and I was in grade 1, at 7 years of age, I think, and like. No, sorry, I was 6. I was 6. I was in grade R, and she came to give these flyers, and I took a flyer, and I went to my mom like, oh, I need to learn how to play this. Because like I always liked music from a young age. Like whenever the radio played, I would sing along and bop my head or whatever. And I just needed to play an instrument because my one friend was a guitar player from very young, and he would show me like the 1 or 2 times I'm over there what he can do. Very basic songs, but it intrigued me to want to do an instrument. And instead of saying like, hey, mom, I want to do the guitar, I went what the flyer said. Hey, I want to do keyboard. And my mom went out and bought me a very expensive, like 5,000-6,000 rand keyboard at the time, which I'm not precisely sure if we could have afforded it or not. But she went out of her way and got me this instrument. And I played it. We still have it because my older brother later took it up and played it. And that was my first experience with music at 6 years age. Playing commercial music that was on the radio and learning that. And then later I stopped because I hated what I was doing. And still this thing came up to me like, I really want to play the guitar because my friend Rousseau, he's my best friend since primary school. Like he can play the guitar and I really need to play the guitar because it looks so cool. The things like his uncle did with those blues licks and stuff and those blues finger picking styles and stuff that he showed me when I was like 8 or 9 years old. Left me in awe, like, oh, I need to play the guitar. And I kept asking my parents, hey, can you buy me a guitar? Can you buy me a guitar? And they kept saying no because lessons were expensive that time. And eventually I saved up my own money to get a guitar. And then the guitar kind of like activated my want to sing and create. And then later on, I started getting into Folk of Polisicar and Nirvana. Hearing what Hunter's lyrics do and what Kurt Cobain's simplistic riffs can do, and you know that kind of vibe, and me hearing that at like 13, 14, I was like, I need to start writing music, and I started writing whatever ideas I had, just get all the shit out of me, and write some good ones in between all the shit, and that's how it started as a release, and then I think about 3 or 4 years ago, it became like a creative release when. Ever I had something happen in my life, I just like kind of put it down in words in my way, in a poetic way, and I just write it out, and it would be like me hitting the wall instead of like hitting someone. I won't ever hit someone, but you get the figure of speech.
What would you say your experience is like being a musician in Cape Town, dude?
I want to laugh because I've been through a lot of shit, dude. In these past 2 years, 2 years, yeah. It's not been the greatest when you know that thing that everybody says you're gonna experience the worst. I was like, no, I'm not, because my first ever gig went really well. I played alongside Matt Costins a gig. He played before me, and I played after him, and I had about like 10, 15 people in the crowd. That was fine enough for a dude that didn't have a fan base. And later it started growing. I've met a lot of great people along the way, but I've met a lot of shitty people. Like what happened in December to me, like still haunts me as a manager. And then I have these previous occurrences where I play on a door deal when I shouldn't have, and I make like 200 or 300 rand. I was like, yeah, no, is this gonna be my life? Being a student and then playing like 200 or 300 rand, and I can't drive at night, so my dad usually drives me around. I can drive during the day, I just don't have really good eyes in the evening. And I kind of feel like really bad because he always drives me around, and I appreciate what he does. But at some point, I think I'd like to like make enough money to like pay his petrol back or his diesel back, sorry. And so in this time, you know, like you hear all this shit, and especially in this lockdown, you saw a lot of the shit coming forward where all these people that usually bullshit musicians were the first people to fall.
Yeah, dude. And the reason why I asked that question is because I'm very much interested in what's happening sort of in the Cape Town music scene. Where we are in Durban, you barely hear anything about it. Like the last time we had the metal roundtable, we obviously had Dane, who's got some experience out in Cape Town with what is it, Dream Demon and whatnot.
Megalodon, and there was another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically with that, we were talking about the venues and all that, and just to sort of paint a clearer picture for us, you're out in Durban. What would you say the best venues you've played at are out there in Cape Town? You can even give us like the top 3 that you played at, and sort of why did you enjoy playing there?
So I would say the best was Class because the vibe. That was the one I played in November, day after my birthday. That was really good. I would like to say, if we take all the negative shit that happened at Anchor Vikings in Mossel Bay now in December, the sound was good. The 50 people we had in the audience was really good. And that was a band gig. That was really good for me. There was a lack of vibe. And then the third one, I would like to say the STFD, the Sit the Folk Down with John Chabon that organized that at what's the place called? It was called Striped Horse on Kloof. It's a public house on Kloof now, but when it was still still Striped Horse on Kloof, I played there like twice or 3 or 4 times actually before. So I really like that. Those are the 3.
No, that's
dude.
dope. Sit the Fuck Down do some really, really cool stuff. Like it's really dope what they're doing.
Yeah, they are, and they're very helpful because they're all musicians. They both play in bands, but they took a knock in this lockdown, and we haven't really heard of them back. I think I spoke to John last in August when we did a collab for his that first round of lockdown, that 21 days. He did a 21 days, a song every day, and I was featured on song number 17 or 18, I think. It's called a Fight Song or something like that, and I did backing vocals for him. And I think that's the last time we spoke.
That is a while back.
Yeah, I've been really busy, dude. I've been actually not been really active in the scene. Like I've been around a lot of the musos around me, but not really been that active as I was in the scene anymore. Because the lockdown took a lot away from me, and I need to find my bearings again. And I'm also so busy with the job I do. Like I'm in disinfection, so
you are basically constantly busy at this point.
We actually had a week off now. I think it was a week. I lost count of the days, but I think it was a week. But we've been busy since the beginning of December doing people's houses and businesses. But we've done so many emergency calls that in one day we had 8 or 9 calls to go do. We did disinfectant fogging, my dad and I and our neighbor. And dude, it's hectic what people say with this COVID story. They get COVID, then they're not healed. They're not clean of the COVID yet, then they want you to come disinfect their house. And sometimes that makes me really uncomfortable. But then we just get them out of the house and we just play it safe.
Yeah, dude. Just on that point there, we obviously almost at the cap when it comes to the Zoom limit. I think what we can do, to sort of just give people I think let's just play a little bit of Thanks for the Memories for the people to get a taste of your music. Please enjoy. It is Thanks for the Memories. We'll come back now.
Hey Jolene, thanks for the memories, but I think it's time to cut the ties. Life has around us, for I need to be selfish. I knew I have to go get some attention from someone else, for love and made me blind. And in time I became the man I never wanted to be. Time wasted, sleep lost. The letters probably meant nothing to you. Hey Jolene, thanks for the memories.
Thank you. That was actually a damn good reminder. Thank you for that.
Have you done a podcast where you forgot to click record?
I've done a podcast where I've hit record and it recorded nothing.
Oh, I've done that as well.
Which I think is a bit worse, because like when you think everything's good and then you get round to editing and there's nothing. Which in Naz's case, Naz got round to editing and he was like, dude, you can only hear you in this, no one else. I was like, shit.
Yeah, I had a college presentation over Zoom, and then my lecturer recorded my stuff. So it was so you do this one-on-one, the presentation of your business idea for entrepreneurship. And then all of a sudden I get an email back like, hey, in your recording, I can only hear bits and pieces of you. And I was like, oh, okay. But I still get marks about this. It's like, yes. It's like, okay, cool. So I don't have to redo it, because it was the worst ever thing. I didn't like doing one-on-ones too much.
No, you can never trust technology, hey? You can never trust
I hate technology.
Shit's finicky.
It is. Is my audio better? I unplugged and plugged my audio interface back in. It sometimes does do that, but my fan's also on, so I'm not sure if it could be the fan or.
I don't think it was a fan thing. No, I don't think it was a. You think so, Naz? It sounded like.
Because you know how, have you ever had like the fan on and then you speak into the fan and it sounds very.
But the fan, it's a ceiling fan.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't have done. If it was doing that, man, it's like free vibrato. Like, good God. Like,
but I should record more like that.
Yeah, just fucking set up the mic underneath the ceiling fan and how do you get that special effect on your voice? Well, I guess you'll never know. Like,
it's called it's a DIY auto tune, basically.
Basically, yeah. Well, for every pop Afrikaans artist, yes, the next Unita Du Plessis is going to be thanking us.
So what I want to ask you is, who are some of your favorite local artists? Who do you look up to in the South African music scene? Like, I would love to know that.
A lot would be Foko Felicikar, and a lot of the local acts around me. Like, there's this cool dude called Justin Hoskin. He's really good. You can go check him out on Facebook. And I really like what Alana Joy's doing, and a lot of the local artists like the Shabs and what's that other band? I'm really bad. I got inspired by Van Kartel and Karen Zoid a lot as well, but I'm more into like Blaumoord and stuff like that. You know, I know the Oaks quite well. I know Marcel from Blaumoord really well, the guitar player, and yeah, that's about it. I think a lot of the other stuff were internationally stuff that a lot of the underground emo stuff of America like inspires me.
No, that's dope, man. Shout out to Marcel from Blaumoord. The guy's a brilliant guitarist.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, and he's such a genuine dude as well. Like, he's just such a nice guy, like, all around. Just from my interactions with him.
Yeah, he's very nice. Like, I have his number. Like, I'll send him stuff. Like, I currently bought my friend's PS4 over, and I put like something on Facebook. Hey, I want to know something about it. And he responded, and he's like, just WhatsApp me a gamer tags. I think we're going to be gaming like later.
Yeah, dude, that's dope. Naz, I was actually speaking about Marcel and Blaumoord to Michelle earlier.
I remember.
Yeah. It's also a band that I would like to speak to. Really, really cool guys all around.
I'll put you in contact with them. I'll send Marcel a
Marcel's featured in one of my YouTube videos. He's done a video with me. So I am on relative speaking terms with the man, but I appreciate the offer.
Yeah, but he's really cool. Sorry,
both of you guys are legends for knowing Marcel. You guys are both on speaking terms with him, and it's cool. We get it, guys. We get it.
Aren't you?
Naz is feeling left out.
I literally Facebook messaged him just Facebook message him for his number. Like, I saw they were in studio last year, but just him and Tian. This is gonna be so weird. He's gonna listen to like, oh, you're speaking about me, but I'll prep him before. Anyways, they were in studio, and I was like, I couldn't wait till that song dropped, and I got like a demo of it, but a very short demo. I was like, dude, can you maybe like pop me the full song. He's like, yeah, but it's not mixed and mastered. I don't care. I was like, I don't care. Please send it. And he sent it to me. He's like, don't send it around. I didn't send it around. And I was just like, oh, this is the best song ever. And it's doing so much better than, like, we were talking on the phone, like how good can a South African rock song do. Like, none of my music really does that well, except for Thanks for the Memories, that got that good organic vibe. And theirs is like that exact same, except theirs have got a lot more streams than mine. But when we spoke about the organic growth in rock music, where a commercial song can drop like this, and it can be there and it can get 5,000 plays for like just being Afrikaans and having that doof 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 type of thing in the song, where our stuff has chords and structures and it doesn't do that well. Like, I think my EP has done really well for the little amount of marketing I've done. It has about like 3,500 streams, which I'm very thankful for. But I feel like for the amount of marketing I did in the time, I wanted it to be more. And I wanted more radios to pick it up. I wanted more coverage on it. And it didn't. But if it was a commercial, I wondered if I released a commercial EP, how good it will do from the instance it releases till 6 months later.
I guess we will see. I guess we'll see at the end of 2021, man, when you bring out your release. Obviously, what are the plans in terms of, you know, the rest of 2021 and beyond as well? You know, you did mention that the EP, Die Begin, was the beginning, and you're looking at probably dropping the proper projects at the end of this year. So besides that, you know, what are the plans on your side? What can the fans of Corné expect from you?
Well, we are launching a merch item, but it's not really merch that you can wear or something. It's something you can drink. It's coffee. It's called Coffee Vannie Suburbs, which I'm doing with we are still in the planning phase, but we're about 80% done. So I got a supplier that's going to do everything for me. Local guy, nice guy. I know him. His wife was my 4th grade and 5th grade arts and culture teacher. So that's really cool. I found that out the other day, like after meeting him. And I'm going to boost that to get some passive income, to like maybe check if we can like book studios and just get drums done, and then record, mix and master the album, and maybe play some internet-based shows. Maybe, I'm not a big fan of it. And then just enjoying the rest of the year. I'm not going to plan it out too much. I planned too much of 2020, and that was a chaos spree. So my main focuses are the coffee, the album, and then just doing some fan-based stuff to get more fans.
I think what we need to try and do is we need to try to organize a sample like of a crowd and people clapping on something. Yay! Because you are literally the first artist we've ever had on the show that's got like, that literally has transitioned from like being a musician and is doing like a beverage, a coffee. Like the last people I saw doing that was Fokov Politica with their beer.
The beer.
So it's like, yeah. So with what you're doing, like this is the first time ever. So
it was supposed to be wine. Thank you, brother. It was supposed to be wine, but then the first rumors that came out was in October that there's going to be another alcohol ban somewhere. And I said before New Year's there's going to be an alcohol ban. And I kept predicting it every time between all my friends on our groups. There's going to be something. And they didn't believe me. And they didn't want to believe me because they like the alcohol too much, which is problematic. But anyways, we get past that. And then this happened. I was like, thank God I didn't do the wine brand I wanted to do, and rather went for the coffee. They can't ever ban coffee. Even if they try.
Don't speak too loudly. Like
touch wood. Yeah.
Dude, before we get all your details and before we close out, what tell us a bit about your coffee, dude. What makes it different from any other coffee that we can get from the shops?
Okay, so it's locally brewed. That's the first thing. Where it's this one entrepreneur that's actually his own restaurants and stuff. So you're buying from a dude that this is his living. By supporting me, you're actually supporting him. This is what he does. He does white label coffee brands. So he helps people get their brands, and he roasts and he plucks the stickers and he does all the basic admin shit that you actually must do, but he does it for you because he's just nice and he puts it in his price. But still, he's just nice. Then also, you can do a subscription with me where you pay, I think the amount I settled on was 130 Rand. And then you get 2 packets of 250 grams coffee. So you get half a kilogram once a month. And then you're stocked for the month at 130 Rand. And it's a subscription. And I come deliver it for you if you're in the area, or I Aramex or Postnet it for you, wherever. And you sign up for that. And you can end the subscription whenever you want. But that's going to be the basis is getting returning customers and then having people get good quality coffee, because I've been seeing too many people drink coffee in this pandemic and ain't nobody got time for that. So it's gonna be good filter coffee, which we're starting off with, and it's got a nice taste to it, and by supporting me, as I said, you're supporting another dude who depends off this. I don't depend on this much, but the other dude does, and he really goes out of his way. He tastes it, and he gave me a sample of it. It's really good, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, maybe I should go very judgy into this," and it blew my mind away. And I don't even drink coffee that much, so I'm more of a tea guy. And if a tea guy can be impressed by coffee, anybody can be impressed by coffee. So you're gonna want to have this brand in your house for the rest of your life.
That was impressive. I think we should work on like a collaboration. I don't know what you think, Marcel, where people must support us to support you, to support the guy that makes the actual coffee.
Yeah, dude, I'm sure we could work something out.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could discuss
That would
and
be
make
nice.
some. Yeah, I'm sure we could discuss, and maybe we have a like I guess predominantly our following would be based in Durban, as that's where we are physically based, and it might
That's
just
fine by me.
help spread some word, man. Maybe we can come to some kind of agreement, and then just
Yeah, dude.
arrangement, see what we can do to help out there.
Yeah, I'll check if I can send you some. I'm not sure how to. I'm still learning everything. That's why it says I met the dude in November, and it was supposed to launch in December, but there were added regulations to shipping that came now, which I must go read still. I've got a massive to-do list because I've been like working my ass off in this infection, and I haven't got time to like read stuff. I've been playing too much on my new PlayStation, so I'll blame the PlayStation on this one. No, just kidding. I've been too lazy to read in the evenings, and I still need to go read up about it because I heard some of the stuff is banned now again in level 3, but I need to go read up and how to do this, that I don't deliver broken coffee packets to you guys, and that it is quality, and then I'll update you guys on it. I'm thinking of launching it middle Jan to beginning of February, as soon as I've read up on everything, but it's most likely middle Jan, that to like the 20th, around there.
That's sick, dude. Yeah, that sounds very interesting. We'll work out the logistics and everything behind the
man.
scenes. Mentioned, before we, I know I said before we close out, before I said this, but now you mentioned PlayStation there, dude. Marcel is a big Apex player. Are you a big Apex guy?
I was about to
I
say
have to
I'm addicted to that currently. I agree with that time consumption.
Now I haven't. Apex is on the download list. So one of my friends who I used to gym with when I still had a gym membership, he recently bought a PS5, and all his PS4 games were digital. And to sync it back up, he had to log into another PS4. And yesterday he came and logged into mine. So I downloaded some of the games, including Days Gone. So I want to clock Days Gone first. And I borrowed the Spider-Man game, which I'm almost done with, 2 or 3 days ago from a friend. And I just want to clock that and work also a bit in the evenings. But I want to clock it first and then load Apex. But that is first in the download list because Warzone got completed, so I can duel with Marcel from Bloemhoort sometime next week, and then just have all that. And I still need to like download one game for my little brother. But so far, I am getting around to Apex. It's good.
Oh, dude, I've wasted so much time, man. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty tense, and it's a lot of fun. Like,
but I'll send you an email if I do join up, because you must have you need a gamer tag if I'm correct.
yeah. If we're gonna jam together, you must just drop a gamer tag. Or you can even just pop it to me on Facebook, man. That's cool. I mean, you have me on Facebook. That's how
Yeah, I'll do that.
This whole thing came about. So
Yeah, I'll do that.
no,
All right.
100%.
Well, sick. It's really nice, seeing gamers come together. This is really sweet, man. My heart is it's jumping up and down right now. Tears of joy. Guys, thank you so much for this. Corné, thank you for joining us, man. This was really awesome, really nice.
Thank you, guys.
Having a very well structured chat. Yeah, like I really enjoyed myself. Marcy, thank you as well for hosting this and doing the whole recording thing. Before we close out, Corné, let us know where people can get in touch with you on social media, and if they want to book you, this is the time.
Okay, so I am on a bit of a hiatus for the moment. So I'm not playing shows again until we comfortably reach level 1. I'm not putting people in harm again like I did in the previous time. I'm accepting responsibility for the shows we did. We did do it in a very safe manner, but still I felt very uncomfortable doing it. So we're waiting for level 1, which will probably be in April. But if they want to like book something for April, which is my working date in my head, which I hope it's sooner, but let's say April, you can email me at bandfunnysuburbs@gmail.com. Funny is VANNIE. So bandfunnysuburbs@gmail.com. You can go on Facebook and Instagram at bandfunnysuburbs. Funny is also VANNIE. And yeah, that's about it. If I don't reach you out on email, I sometimes don't see it because it goes in a different folder. And then I just need to go look for it. Just pop me a DM or something on Messenger, and I'll help you from there. Or people can just pop me. I don't know if I should give my number on you. Is that safe?
Man, if you can risk it, man. We don't know, like generally the people that listen to the show are really cool. So
okay, let's go
depends
for
on how
it.
comfortable you are.
I am. So it's 071-602-8868. You can call me, or WhatsApp is the best because sometimes I'm out on a job and then I will like decline your call, but I'll send you a WhatsApp straight after that. But best is if you send me a WhatsApp first and say, hey, Corné, it's this and this. I want to book you for this and this. I'm very comfortable with doing backyard gigs, basement gigs, bar gigs, club gigs, if we're allowed again. Whatever type of vibe, just give me a thorough description so that I can quote you properly and we can get talking right off the bat and do it the right way and not confuse each other.
All right, sick. That is awesome. Thank you so much for all that info, man. To anyone who's listening, please do get in touch with Corné. Marcel, what's happening with you online and everything? This is your time.
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube as Marcel Smuts, as well as Instagram as Thorns of Sludge. I just also want to put out there that the Sludge YouTube channel is live, and we are doing some pretty cool things there with our newest member, Keldon. And it's going to be some really dope content. Please go check it out. Please check out my channel. Shameless plug aside. Nsipe.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I am
thanks for having me, guys.
Sweet, bro. It was really awesome having you on, Corné. Thank you for joining us. We are obviously going to have to close out with one of your songs. Before we close out, please, if you're listening to this, do check out all our merch and everything that we're pretty much selling on our Casual Sex store. Just click the link in bio or the link in the description and basically just click on the Casual Sex store. And obviously on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, we are at Sludge Underground, and then on Twitter at Sludge031. And then basically, if you want to tune into the episodes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud, we are Sludge Underground Podcast across all those platforms. And as for myself, it's at Vannie031. Corné, which track of yours are we closing out with tonight?
Do you have Onrus 2019 there? That's the newest one.
We can pretty much buy it if it's on like iTunes or something, dude. And then just
I think I sent it to you as a WAV.
Okay, sick, dude. Then we'll use that.
Yep, you did. I can confirm. And you've sent us a couple of nice images as well. That's dope.
Sick,
Nice.
bro. So we're gonna be closing out with that one there, and then please just like pronounce it for me again, man. My Afrikaans is terrible, man. It's terrible.
The EP is Onperfect Nes Ek Die Begin, and the song we're playing is not from the EP but is joining the full album. It's called Onrus 2019. It's about a wild time in Onrus in December of 2019. Hope you guys enjoy. Thanks guys for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Laat nog wakker bly, vroegoggend beklei, stuur die oggend jy my gebel het en gevra het, Ek jou by die strand se wal kom al het. Ek gevra het wat jy daar gemaak het. Jy gesê jy wou net 'n brandewyn by Milkwood's bestel het. Terrein toegestap het. En die nakkelpap en swem in die bakkie se gat. Nou stuur ek groete van die son op tot hy son onder. Gebel het en gevraai of ek jou by die strand se wal kom al het. Ek gevra het wat jy daar gemaak het. Jy gesê jy wou net 'n brandewyn by Milkwood's bestel het.